In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use the query function to query an import HTML function that we're going to have to get a list of last names. So first of all, let's take a look at our names. We're going to look at last names here. So I have this website, and it's got a table in it, and it's got a table of all the last names, and it's got their name and the count, and white, black, Asian, I think, and I'm not sure what that is, but so let's take a look here and see how we can use an import HTML. So that's equal to import import HTML, and import HTML takes a URL. Well, I actually have the URL right there. So we're going to use A7, and then the next piece of it is that we need to look for the what kind of table it is, and this is going to be a table, and it's table number 1, comma 1, and that should pull back our values. Import HTML A1. I don't know how that got to be an A7. Excuse me. And here's our data. And we're pulling in this list of names. But I really don't need all of these other fields. I could use them, but let's say I wanted to limit that. So one way to do that is to wrap this in a query. So we're going to do a query, and then we're going to import HTML as our data. So notice that's our data, comma, that moves me to my query. I'm going to select, and in this case I just want to select, and because this is a table, and it's a virtual table with this import HTML, I have to use the col1, col2, col3 format, and then we should be able to close that out, do our comma 1 for our header, and here we have a list of our names. Now I've gotten rid of the extra columns that I didn't need by using this query. The next thing I'd like to do is change these last names to a proper. So I'm going to have this be equal to, actually I'll call this proper so I can get a name here. This is going to be equal to proper. A little bit too fast there. Equals to proper. And the text to capitalize is going to be this, Smith. But I want to do all of those rows, so it's going to be B3B, and then I'm going to close that out, and then I'm going to do a Command Shift Enter on a Mac, Control Shift Enter on a PC, wrap it in an array formula. So in one formula here I have proper, and I could then bring this down, and I could make this bold. And now I have a list of last names that I can use if I want. And another interesting thing we could do with the query is we could select all those, and we could order by col3 descending. And now I should have col3 order by col3 descending. Oh, it already is ordered by col3 descending. So let's just order it by col3. And now it's going to reverse, and now I've got my name starting at 1,000, the rank of 1,000 instead of the rank of 1. So just something you could do if you wanted to using the order by function. Let's leave it up this way. We have our most common names here. But this gives me a way to work with first names or last names. And then if we take a look at this common last names website, we can see that these are the most common last names, and I'm looking at this. Here's 1,000 more common last names, and this is starting at 1,000. So I could run the same thing, but notice this is a different query or a different URL. So if I wanted to use that, I would have to change this. Let's see, what does that say? Start equals 1,000. So if I did that, I could change this URL to start equals 1,000. I think there was a question mark there, wasn't there? Yes, a question mark. Start equals 1,000. So got to get that question mark in there. Now if I do that, here I get this other list of names. So I'm going to undo that, but I could come up with some 1,000 names that are a little bit less common than those first Smiths and so forth. So if I undid that, or the other thing I could do is I could copy all this, and I could come over here and paste it all, and then this I could just change to question mark start equals 1,000, and from that table there, now I'm getting a separate set of names. So I've got 2,000 last names now with this rank. And of course, when we look over here, there was this other information that could be interesting if you wanted to do some analysis. How many the Galloways are, 65% white, 24% black, and so forth. So an interesting way to take a look at the query to sort of sort some data out in a way that could be useful for you to gather some data.